Well, thank you. Today we are from Class B, Group 6. Want to present our materials, which is consist of 6 subtopics. So the first is the passive construction and transitive verb. The second is intransitive verb. The third is the antipassive. The fourth is the antipassive construction. The fifth is the applicative construction. And the last is the causative construction. So, for the first speakers, time is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Apliana Dewa. Here I would like to talk about the passive construction. The passive construction is a grammatical construction or a grammatical form where the subject sentence doesn't take action but instead receive action or as a receiver of action. The action is followed up by another agent or as a door of action who can be mentioned or not. For example, I eat that cake. This is an active sentence, and the pattern of this sentence is I as a subject, it as verb, and the cake as an object. And the passive form of this sentence is the cake is eaten. Okay, the second example is Rudy is writing a letter, and the pattern of this sentence is Rudy as a subject, is as to be, writing as verb ing, and a letter as an object. Okay, as you can see at the slide, the active sentences all have a transitive verb. That is the verb that has a subject and a direct object. By contrast, all passive sentences have only a subject and no object, and they have become intransitive. Okay, subject in active sentences I and Rudy has been demoted in the passive. It is no longer a subject but instead appears inside a prepositional phrase headed with by, and doesn't necessarily appear in the passive sentence at all. So we can also say simply the cake is eaten and a letter is being written. And the last, I will tell you about how to change the active sentence become the passive form. The first thing that we have to do is we have to put the object in the active sentence become the subject in the passive sentence, and the second one is the main verb in the active sentence must be changed being the third form verb and preceded by to be. I think that's all. Thank you.
Hello anybody, now let's take several minutes for today's explanations. In these occasions, I am going to talk about a transitive verb. So to make anything is clear, I have pointed out 3 important things regarding these matters today. So I assume that any of you can get what is the point of my explanations right here. Now let's come to the first point. It's about the definitions of a transitive verb itself. In English grammar, a transitive verb is a verb that takes an object. An object is included of direct or indirect objects. Many verbs have both a transitive or intransitive functions, just depending on how they are used. Now let's head into the second point, is about how to identify a transitive verb. A transitive verb is not only a verb that can take an object, they demand objects. Without an object to affect, the sentences that are transitive in habits will not seem complete. Now please look at the examples of the transitive verb. Please bring the coffee. So bring is a transitive, and then the coffee is an object. Now look at another examples. She loves beach. Loves is a transitive, and beach is an object. Look at another examples. Paul throw the ball. Paul throw the ball. Throw is a transitive and ball is an object. Now let's move to the third point, is about the subtypes of a transitive verb. Among the transitive verb, there are 3 subtypes of a transitive verb. The first one is monotransitive, the second one is detransitive, and the third one is complex transitive verb. Now let's see the first one. Monotransitive verb It has only a direct objects. Now look at these examples. See both a book. See both a book. Now please let's see for the second types. The transitive verb. The transitive verb have direct or indirect objects. Now please look at these examples. He gave her the book. He gave her the book. Now let's come to the third and the last subtypes is complex transitive verb. Complex transitive verb have direct or indirect object attribute. For examples, she found the book interesting.
Okay, my name is Marceliana Maniini. In this part, I'm gonna explain about the intransitive verb and passive. A verb can be either transitive and intransitive verb. Intransitive verb is an action that doesn't have a direct to receive that action. For example, you can see on the slide, the people dance. The people in here is a subject, dance is a verb. So in this sentence, there is no direct object that follow the verb. English can't pacify in intransitive verb. Intransitive cannot be changed into passive because there is not any object in such sentences, and without object of passive sentence is not possible. But many languages are also passivization with intransitive verb. You can see on the slide the example of intransitive verb can be passive in Welsh and German language. We can see in English the translation seems strange because it can pacify like I already explained before. On the slide, the A sentences are active and the B ones are passive. In Welsh language, in 11A, the sentences in active can ought why core native. In English, can ought is seeing, why is the, core is choir, native is last night. If you read grammatically in English, the choir sang last night. The sentences in Welsh language is as passive is you can see in 11b, can, with, gan, why, core, native. In English, can with is sing, gan is by, why is the, core is choir, and native is last night. In literally, the sentence will be was sung by the choir last night. If we read grammatically, it will be there was singing by the choir last night. In German language, you can see the example of the sentences on the slide. In 12a is an active sentence. In 12b is a passive sentence. So in 12a, the sentence is Die Leuten Bandstand. In English, Die is the, Leuten is people, Bandstand is dance. So the sentence will be the people dance. On the slide, the word dance change into danced because the verb change into past. In 12b, the sentence in German language that can be passive. So the sentence is es wurde getanzt. In English, es is it, wurde it is was, and getanzt is dance. In literally, it will be it was dance. And if the verb change into past participle, it will be there was dancing. In 11b sentence and 12b sentence are usually known as impersonal passive because no core noun phrase has been promoted to subject. This construction is impersonal passive. You have to know that impersonal passive is only possible with verbs of perception.
The antipassive takes a transitive clause and makes it intransitive via a process of promotion of one noun phrase and demotion of another. You guys can see at the example in number 13a and b. In 13b is antipassive sentences. The antipassive is in the bold form.
Okay, so here I will explain about the antipassive. We start with the definition of the antipassive voice. You can see it on the screen. So the antipassive voice is a type of grammatical voice that either does not include the object or includes the object in an oblique case. The antipassive voice predominantly occurs in ergative language, where the deletion of an object promotes the subject from ergative case to absolutive case. Although the antipassive voice is certainly found more commonly in accusative language than ergative language. There is another construction which changes grammatical relations, also occurs in ergative languages. This is known as antipassive, and this does not occur in accusative language.
Next, structural functions of the antipassive. In a number of languages, only a particular grammatical function like subject, object, or case form can serve as the syntactic pivot for extraction, reference, tracking across clauses, and other grammatical processes. Antipassivization makes the sole argument of the detransitivized verb accessible to relevant grammatical processes. In many ergative languages, where the absolutive is the pivot for all or most grammatical processes, antipassivization allows the subject to occur in the absolutive case. To illustrate the syntactic function of antipassive, let us turn to more tricky examples. In tricky, relativization is possible only for absolutive arguments. Thus, the subject of intransitive and the direct object can relativize directly, as shown by number 3 for the subject absolutive. In order to relativize the subject of a transitive, you can see the example in number 4. It first needs to be converted into an absolutive via antipassivization, like number 5a. The subject of the antipassive is then relativized, like number 5b. You can see in the slide like this.
Next, my name is Petrus Gonzalez Novato. I will explain about the antipassive construction. An antipassive construction is a derived detransitivized construction with a two-place predicate related to a corresponding transitive construction whose predicate is the same lexical item. In the basic transitive construction, the patient-like argument is realized as a direct object. In the antipassive construction, that argument is either suppressed, left implicit, or realized as an oblique complement. The term antipassive was coined to indicate that the construction is a mirror image of the passive. In the passive, the suppressed or demote argument is the agent-like argument, In the antipassive, a patient-like argument. Okay, here is an example about antipassive or transitive. In part 1a, the transitive verb carry exists with the ergative subject and absolutive object. In B, the verb is marked with the antipassive prefix ine and no longer exists with the object. The object is now expressed by an oblique case like instrumental. A verb in the antipassive is derived from the corresponding transitive verb, often with the help of overt morphology. Language also make use of antipassive markers that are syncretic with other categories, thus functioning simultaneously. For example, detransitivizer or aspect or modality markers. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Nakularak. Now I want to tell you about the applicative contraction. In English, we have an alternative between the A and B form in sentence like 26 and 27. I take the A sentence to be the more basic and the B sentence to be derived from them by process of emission and demotion. For example, A, my brother sold his bike to Sue, and B, my brother sold Sue his bike. And the next example, I baked a cake for Kim. I baked Kim a cake. Uh, this alternation occurs just with certain three argument verbs in English. In their basic form, these verbs take a direct object such and his bike cake plus headed by two or four such as to sue for Kim. In the B sentence, the NPAs Sue and Kim have been promoted to direct object possession. Immediately following the verb in English and the original direct object is demoted to become a second object. There is no longer a PP in the B sentence. This contraction in English is often known as dative movement, although English has no actual dative case marking, because in some languages, indirect objects such as to sue are marked dative. Now, compare the parallel construction found in the Austronesian language, Indonesian, and the Bantu language. Sisewa, the rare strength sounding example from this language are taken from Becker. Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone, now I'm gonna presenting the material about the applicative construction. It consists of three main parts. The first one is the definition of the applicative construction. It is a syntactic element adding an extra object to a clause. In some cases, the direct and applied objects are generated within a small clause. In others, the applied object is generated outside the main verb phrase. Symmetric applicatives allow either object to move to the subject position of a passive clause, and asymmetric applicatives allow only one object to move. Next, we can see the general properties of the applicative construction. English is fairly restrictive in the type of oblique phrase that can undergo promotion, but cross-linguistically various kinds of oblique phrases can be promoted, including locative expressions, goals, beneficiaries, and instrumental phrases such as with a stick, as in the variable example below. It is an example of the applicative construction in variable. Actually, there are some examples of it, but I only use this one. According to this example, we can see the part A. It is an ordinary transitive clause in variable with an ergative A noun phrase meaning father, an absolute O noun phrase meaning mother. In the English translation, stick appears inside a past participle headed by with the hyphen. It is an oblique phrase. In variable, the stick noun phrase is also oblique, and this is marked by a special instrumental case. Instrumental noun phrases don't undergo dative movement in English, whereas in variable the stick noun phrase can indeed be promoted to object, as in the example of part B. This noun phrase you go now has absolutive case. The case of normal objects in ergative system, whilst the former object that meaning mother has been demoted as sound by its dative case marking. And finally, a noun phrase which has been promoted by the applicative construction to become a direct object can generally undergo a second promotion by the passive construction, thus becoming a subject. That's all. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Yorifon Tamonov. In this section, I will explain about the causative construction, the last major construction type, which changes grammatical relation. The causative are the verbs that are used to indicate that one person causes another person to do something for the first person. One can cause somebody to do something for him or her by asking, paying, requesting, or forcing the person. And for the examples, my friend will continue to explain. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Tarsiana Yaru. Now I'd like to tell you about some examples of causative construction in English sentences. So the main way of expressing the idea of someone causing someone else to do something is by using a verb such as make, let, cause, or have. The example, as you can see at the slide, in both examples, in the 35 and the 36 sentences, in both examples, the A sentences are passive sentences or just simple clauses. the we can see the B option examples in each case are causative construction, because on that sentence there are made, led, and had verbs.